Hey there, viewers, and welcome back to the South Main Auto Channel. This 2000 Dodge Dakota. It's got the big V6 in it. It's four-wheel drive. And the guy was driving down the road and said it's got a little noise in the front end, a little popping, a little thumping. And he said he got out and looked underneath it, and the whole right side axle shaft is all blown to pieces, and the boot tripped off it, and it looks like it's just falling out of the housing. The sad news is evidently he just had this repaired while he was out on the road out of state somewheres, and they charged him $700 to fix this problem, which I guess from what he says was the original problem. So I don't really know what happened. Originally he said he had some clicking and clanking coming from the right front. He stopped somewheres to have repaired. They told him for $700 they could fix it. I took a look under it out in the parking lot, and all I could see was a right front axle had been replaced. I figured for $700, this, axle shafts are like $70. And I think the labor on this is only, maybe a couple hours. I think you gotta pull a wheel bearing or something. So I don't know. I haven't seen his invoice from the other shop to know, what they did or what drove the cost so high, or, maybe their labor rate was $300 an hour. I don't know, but all I know is it doesn't look pretty there on the right front, and we're gonna pop it apart, see if we can tell from the clues what happened or why it broke, and get this guy fixed back up. Well, here we are on the passenger side CV axle, and you can see the boot has done gone and left town. It's all ripped up. I see it's got a Napa Max Drive axle in it. We can also see on the inner shaft that it's just kind of stuck on there right now, but it's not on nowhere near where it should be. Should be pushed in all the way up to that rubber O-ring, but it's not. Boy, I don't know about you, but I don't think this thing was just put on last week. I mean, gosh, we've got to take that wheel bearing out, that bolt there. A couple other ones just like it. Get the wheel bearing out to get the CV shaft out. Like I say, it is evident that the CV shaft has been changed. I see the Napa sticker on it there, so it's definitely aftermarket. But I'd say we got to tear this thing out and have a look to see if it ruined this inner shaft. We don't know what the end of the shaft looks like. We don't know why this separated to begin with. So we have a few unknowns that we have to try to figure out here. So we'll get started on this job. Well, because I got a new toy, we're gonna play with it. This is the new Astro Nano. What do they call it? The Astro 1828. And it's only a 3/8 drive. We'll try to do this job exclusively with it, including pull off lug nuts. This thing is nasty, let me tell you. Like I got a nut stuck in here now. Takes them off all zippy zap like. Stupid chrome cap nut. Get them stuck in your socket there. Oh, I forgot about this little guy. We got to take that off, that big axle nut. I don't know. It should be able to do it. We'll get an adapter. Let's try that right now. This is a customer that comes here for, for service, and of course I guess he's out on the road often and travels a lot. So he takes this old Dakota around with him. So you can probably see the red muscle grease. I'd have to look at its service history. We may have done a wheel bearing on this at some point. I don't know. What's that we got there? Like a 32, probably, something like that. Let's see. We have one of these. Not bigger. Smaller. Jeez. Yeah, exactly like I said, 32. I should have just grabbed what I was thinking of. So now we need an adapter from 1/2 to 3/8. That's where it really kills, you know, an impact, so. Not this little guy. One size does it all, right? All right, you can see as many tool reviews as you want on a tool, but until you actually buy it and use it, that's the real review in my mind. Put it on a Skidmore all day, but I like to put it to practice. So we'll take and peel this caliper off here. Gotta get this little brake spring off. Grab a pry bar. Pull that off out of the caliper. And we'll see what we need to take the caliper off, get the rotor off, bust the bearing loose, get this axle out of here. I don't know what a thunder happened to this thing. Well, I took the caliper off. You're not going to see that on the YouTube because something got goofed up with my camera when I was recording. When I thought I was recording, I wasn't recording. You know, that old story. Malfunction. But at any rate, when I was taking it apart, I did discover that the inner brake pad is toast and all delaminated, so it needs front brakes to boot. You know, besides everything extra, or besides whatever's wrong with the axle, we got to put front brakes on it because the pads are smoked. So that just kind of adds to the mix. What, honey?
Lunch is ready.
Lunch is ready? All right. Sounds like it's lunchtime. When we come back from lunch, I'm gonna spray this down with some Croil before we go to lunch. That way when we take the bolts out, we should be able to just kind of give it a little tug and she should come off. Unless this turns into another Self-Made Auto Extreme video, which with all the rust and crap that we have to deal with, that's plausible. We'll say that. We'll be back. Well, lunch is over. Lost all my motivation. That's what happens. Sit down, eat lunch, warm office. Feel like I need a nap. Anyhow, I sprayed this thing down. Now we'll pull the 3 bolts out of the wheel bearing. Get that pulled off there and see what the heck happened. Oh, let's grab a 15 mil. Get back here, see if we can't, or 14 rather. Boy, I don't know. Oh, rust has really gotten to him. Might actually be 13. Yeah, try this one. That bottom one wasn't feeling too good. Nah, it doesn't feel right. Let me see if I can get something else a little tighter fitting on there. Yeah, it's a 13. Just need a little, shall we say, persuasion. Oh man, good thing that wasn't my skin. That didn't last very long. Nano being a hoss again. Alright, we'll beat it on the rest of these. See what we can do. Sock it back first here. There we go. I think I loosened her up. That's the other good thing about this, because of how small it is. Like, let me grab a regular 3/8 air ratchet or impact. So this here used to be my 3/8 AW 377. Good little gun. Let's see. That's back-to-back comparison. You know, it's quite a substantial difference there, you know, several inches. You know, in the case where this one, your regular air impact, it wouldn't have fit in here. It'd have been hitting that joust bumper where, you know, the Nano, you can stick right in there. All kinds of room, and frankly, it's, you know, this thing's weak sauce compared to that little guy. So, I should probably just get rid of my, well, I never get rid of tools, who am I kidding? Now we'll turn it the other way, we'll zip this other bolt out. Yeah, we're gonna have to use a swivel. Uh-oh. Swivel is the other thing that will totally kill an impact. Takes a tremendous amount of torque away from it. Oops, I have that all the way. Yeah, she doesn't like that. Fairly tight. That was pretty snug. Let's see. Beautiful. Now we'll rattle on this thing a little bit. Spray a little more Panther Pea on here. Croyle, been using a lot of that lately. Seems to be working, and seems to be kind of what old mechanics use, I guess. So that's what we're using. So we'll rattle on a little bit with the air hammer. I got her off. There's our bearing. Big, look at that, she just fell right apart. Well, this thing goes out of there. That's what we came after anyways. Here's our CV shaft. It's broken. We gotta figure out, well, first let's have a look at that inner spline. And, yeah, crap. See what happened. The splines look pretty good. I don't see where anything is too messed up. You know, it's beveled on the outside edge. Got our lock ring. Let's get some, I know just the thing for this job. Boom! Brake clean! Let's give her a little scrub-a-dub-dub. Get rid of all the, because it doesn't, there's so much crud on the inside of these splines, it doesn't appear that maybe it was just never engaged all the way. So, let's get some of that crap out there. So when I first looked at this out in the parking lot and seen the CV axle was hanging out of it and wasn't fully engaged on here, I had my suspicions, and I think I'm right. So let me show you. So pay attention. You see the snap ring, the C-clip or whatever you want to call it. That is what retains the CV axle to this axle shaft that goes in this housing. Well, you can notice the position of this C-clip here. It's in about, I don't know, what, inch and a quarter, something like that. Well, check this out. This is the inner tulip, or the inner part of the CV shaft that was engaged on there. Now, if you think about this, if this is the, let's say that for sake of argument, this is the axle shaft that goes in there. Let's pretend our clip was right about the end of my finger. So when this engages, click, there should be a groove right out here in this outside edge, you know, obviously on the inside, to engage the snap ring. However, there is not. Hope you guys can see in there, but all the way in to the very inside, there is a snap ring groove. So, that's our issue. And the other thing I did notice, and you'll see that when I ordered parts, there was options for 2 CV shafts, and they were supposedly based upon the production date, you know, before or after such and such a date in the year 2000. But when I look up the Napa Max Drive axle, there is only one option, and that's this one here. And it's the only option. So that could be what happened. If you put this CV shaft on there, it's not going to latch on because that snap ring has nothing to latch on to. So what I did is from Napa, even the same company, I ordered 2 remanufactured shafts because they, you know, obviously there's a difference. And how can they offer 2 reman shafts, you know, with the production date cut off, but in this new drive shaft line, they only offer the one with no option. So not knowing what was wrong with this, I also bought this inner shaft. This is the one that goes inside the axle, because I didn't know if we were going to need this. So look at this. This could be. Here's your problem. Look at that. That's got the snap ring on the very outside edge. No kidding. So this inner shaft would fit this CV shaft because of where the snap ring's located. Look at that. What a saga. We should have some dramatic music right now. Let's go ahead and cue the dramatic music. It's getting intense. So, dramatic music's over. So, if we install this, which is a Napa Max Drive product, into the axle housing, we could use the Napa Max Drive axle. But let me show you what I bought. Are the reman axles. So there's one part number on that. This one has look where the groove is on this one. That's got it all the way to the outside edge. Well, you know, just in what? A little over 1/4 of an inch from the bevel. This to me seems to be the one that should fit our orientation that we have. All right, so there's that one. Here's the other one that they had listed with, there's that number. Okay. And this one is just like the original one we took off. It's got the snap ring groove way on the inside. Now when I looked up the specs on these, it did not list what was different about these. They gave me all the specs, the length, the collapse length, you know, that whole bit, and they were exactly the same, 100%, but it did not list what was different. You know, why is there 2 different part numbers if, you know, they're exactly the same according, you know, to the information? I say, instead of selling this guy 2 parts, you know, let's not just sell him this just because. I'll send this back and I'll send the other CV shaft back. We'll take this one, which, if I remember, I had the same spline, same length, same everything. Why don't we just install this on what's already there, and it should latch on. So let's try that. So what we'll do is we'll slobber that up a little bit here with some fluid film. Kind of make this go a smidge easier, I think. Stick this up through. Get this oh, come on. I have to turn the wheels a little bit. I think that should help. Come on, sucker, there we go. There we go. You can see that one latched on there as intended. Now if we pull hard enough, obviously that will pop back off, but that's the way it's designed, is that snap ring goes in there and latches onto that CV axle. Let me get it. Let me tap it back in. Okay. I just want to make sure I've got it definitely all the way locked on. I'm not 100% sure if I did on the first go around, because you've got that O-ring in there also. Just want to make sure I wasn't just getting a false sensation that it... Okay. Definitely locked on this time. Yeah, because like I say, usually you take them off, you just stick a pry bar up here and you give them a little tunk, or you can use a mallet, tap it like that and get it to crack loose. So it's on there. Yep, definitely is good. So we'll get this mess cleaned up, get our wheel back on. So to clean this out, I had the axle out. Yeah, we got all the rust out of there, so that bearing was pretty friendly coming out. I went and cleaned up the inside of the bearing too, just wire wheeled it. It appears it probably has been changed at some point just because it was so clean. I know you guys probably laugh when I'm like, oh yeah, this one's clean. Well, compared to what we're used to working on, it's pretty clean. So we'll get this up there and we'll get the bolts tightened back up on it. Got the wheel bearing all bolted on, tightened down. Frankly, all I've got left to do is do the brakes. I'm actually still waiting for the new pads to show up. So I got to get this, hub face cleaned up, and the rotor and caliper pins have seen better days. So I got to get all that stuff kind of sandblasted and lubed and cleaned up so he's got good working brakes when it left, or when it leaves, along with a CV shaft that's going to stay attached now. I don't know where the $700 repair came into. Hopefully it's just a gross misunderstanding on my part, but it sounded like it is what we just did. And you can see it's a pretty straightforward job. I think book time's like, an hour and a half is all start to finish, assuming nothing is rusty and everything comes apart well. And I think it did in this case. It came apart quite easily. So we got just a few things left to do. Got to get this torque down. I got to look up the torque spec on the hub nut here. We'll get that done. I'll get the brakes done. We'll take this 3.9 liter fire breathing monster out for a shake and make sure the axle doesn't go flying out of it again like it did on this fella, and make sure his clicking, crunching noise is gone, and that's it. Well, we got her all buttoned up, brakes are on. Take your little zip around town. We'll do some tight turning. See if we can duplicate this noise. I did hear it actually, when I pulled in the shop. Of course, with that CV shaft only halfway on that stub shaft, naturally it's gonna make some noise. Whole exhaust manifold leakage. to the local fire department. They've got a little bit of a paved area. They probably always think I'm a lunatic. I'm always out here doing this. Alright, well, everything seems pretty good there. We'll head out on the big road, get her up to speed, and make sure everything stays good. All she wrote right there. These 39s are total weak sauce in a full-size pickup. You always got to run them about half, 3/4 throttle to make them go. Well, everything feels good and smooth. What the thunder? Is that a hitchhiker? Dude, I haven't seen a hitchhiker in forever. Wow, I didn't even know they were still around. It used to be a pretty big thing growing up. You know, never pick up a hitchhiker. You know, that's what your parents always told you. Like you could drive. Wow, no kidding. That's the first hitchhiker I've seen in forever. Awesome. Well, we made it back from the big test drive. Looked like the CV axle stayed intact. A whole lot better than the last one did, that's for sure. Brakes seem to work pretty good. A lot better than them old rusted off pads. I'd say she's fixed. Alright, we'll stick our core back in our box. That baby sent back to Napa. Send back those two parts we didn't need. That's the one we ended up using, you know, in case you're doing this. So I don't know what the deal is, why they have the listing, you know, goofed up on, you know, on their new one and don't have a production date cut off or any of that. Obviously, there's a difference there. If we installed that Napa Max Drive intermediate shaft, you know, from the differential to the outer CV shaft here, we could use the other one. So I don't know, it's all confusing. I don't know what's right and what's wrong. All I know is the shaft we put in it is the right shaft based upon what's in the truck currently. And I think that's the quickest way to fix the problem. Now, if that inner, you know, shaft was toast and, you know, rounded off from, you know, from these splines ratcheting and, you know, stuff like that, then, you know, we could have gone the other ways. So I guess if you're doing one of these, easiest thing to do, just buy both axles, see which one you need based upon what orientation you have on your snap ring, and just take it from there. So that's it. Guys should be happy. The bill's gonna be nowhere near the $700 he paid out of town. I'm kind of curious to get that bill. If I do, I'll put something in the description as to what he really had done, but I don't know, seems kind of fishy to me. 700 bucks for a CV shaft. Either that or my prices are way too low. I don't think at $300 an hour you might be able to achieve that, but I don't know. It's an easy job, parts are cheap. We fixed it, it was fast. He's happy. So anyhow, viewers, check us out on Facebook if you haven't. Subscribe to our channel if you would, or at least consider it if you want to stay up to date with the latest publications. You can find us on Google Plus too if you want to connect with us socially there. And just remember, viewers, if I can do it, you can do it. Thanks for watching.